Grand Rapids. This is NewsFlash. Ding ding. Our top story tonight. Governor Whitmer spoke at GRCC a week ago about her child care proposals, with businesses starting to open back up and employees going back to work in their offices. One of her points involves a pivot to businesses that have struggled during the pandemic. All I'm saying, she said, a lot of daycare centers already look like old retail and restaurant buildings. So just a quick, narrow transition. The GOP's counteroffer is forcing Whitmer to just watch everybody's kids for them, just to keep her busy. Yeah. Sadly, under this new proposal, children who receive child care are no longer eligible for green energy tax breaks. So, tough luck, kids.
As of Friday, to-go cocktail sales in New York State are again illegal with the end of the pandemic emergency orders. Ooh, yeah. Bars and restaurants that have not fully recovered from the long shutdowns are sitting on thousands and thousands of to-go cocktails that will be illegal to sell tomorrow, wrote St. John Frizzell, a restaurateur in Brooklyn, in an Instagram post. In an unrelated story, plain brown paper bag sales are now skyrocketing, approaching the same scarcity level as lumber and at-home waxing kits.
Through the roof. Yep, antivirus software pioneer John McAfee died in an apparent suicide in a Spanish prison after plans were made to extradite him to the U.S. to face charges on tax evasion. Computer owners around the world are preparing to be haunted by McAfee with those daily reminders that they're going to have to renew. Bill, can you do something about that? Can you click that? Come on. People trying to pay good money to see the show. Oh my gosh.
The anticipated Vincent van Gogh immersive and multi-sensory exhibition is now open in Detroit. It's called Beyond Van Gogh, the immersive experience. This opened last Friday at the former Gogh Center, or whatever it's called today. The experience immerses you into the world of Van Gogh's art, but you do have to sign a waiver due to potential blood loss after you lend them your ear.
Immersive. Dunkin, that's the new name. That's so much more chic than the full Dunkin' Donuts. Has opened its second store in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. The company has plans in the next year to open 5 additional stores, bringing the total to 7. Marketing officials at the Canton, Massachusetts corporate headquarters of Dunkin' are baffled why nobody seems to be buying these 2-holder donuts that they made especially for the opening. I don't know why.
It kind of looks like a pretzel. You know.
I mean, it looks like something for sure. He knows.
As vaccines continue to be administered, scientists are starting to discuss if and when booster doses will be necessary. The current estimate is that a third shot should be given 8 to 12 months after the first dose, as the firmware on microchips within the vaccine would need to be updated.
Got that McAfee notification.
Yeah. If you've already received your vaccine, you can expect to receive a notice of the updated privacy policy in the mail pretty soon. And to read the terms of service, just hold a dime to your sticky forehead.
A Lowell woman was convicted and sentenced to embezzlement from the local Moose Lodge last week. She had embezzled over $33,000. Her accomplice, Boris Badenoff, could not be reached for comment. He was busy trying to capture the moose and squirrel.
The Grand Rapids Police Department has reported multiple incidences of drive-by paintball shootings, inspired by a recent trend on TikTok. Witnesses supposedly were quoted as saying, "Wow, our prize is really taking social distancing seriously this year." Authorities are now requesting that anyone who wishes to participate in the trend opt for the safer option of just dragging your paint rollers down the sidewalk.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. chisels at blocks of marble.
Yeah, that's not great. Local police had to break up an exorcism that was being performed in a Pennsylvania Home Depot for the trees that had been turned into lumber. This is true. Unfortunately, the exorcism did not bring back any trees, but it did awaken the ghost of that guy that Tony Stewart killed. So, NASCAR joke.
Police, paramedics, rescue divers, and swimmers were dispatched to attend to a naked, floating woman in Japanese coastal waters who was thankfully safely retrieved from the water. After extraction, as a crowd of gawkers observed and laughed, it was unclear how or why, wait for this, a blow-up sex doll was in the water and mistaken for a person at that. Was the owner angry with their silicone soulmate? Were they riled at refusals from their plastic partner? Or possibly was it a failed attempt at joining the Mile Deep Club? Huh? The world may never know.
Thank goodness. Last week, the New York Times reported that George Clooney and other stars of screen and film will be creating and funding a magnet school to prepare students for careers in Hollywood, also known as the scariest sentence to QAnon. Classes including cutting cocaine with baking soda for fun and profit, how to avoid the cops for sex workers, how to succeed in porn after the age of 20, and how to survive on top ramen and peanut butter jelly sandwiches. That's a good mode right there, just right between you.
It was recently revealed that Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer had a mutual crush on each other while playing star-crossed lovers Rachel and Ross on the NBC sitcom Friends. At the time, David Schwimmer was dating the Australian singer Natalie Imbruglia. When Imbruglia was asked about her relationship with Schwimmer during that time, she replied, "He was warm, came around like he was dignified. I don't miss him all that much. There's just so many things I cannot touch. I'm torn."
That was part of the quote as well. Doctor of Radiology at Phoenix Children's Hospital is no longer affiliated with the center after posting on social media that Israel was a state based on inhumanity and cannibalism. Basically invoking one of the oldest anti-Semitic stereotypes. Luckily, yes, no longer affiliated and fired, presumably. Oddly enough, though, the doctor didn't seem to have a problem with other major religions' practice of eating bodies and drinking blood. Go figure.
In other religious news, in an attempt to embrace the next generation and continue to promote peace and enlightenment, the ancient and noble religion of Buddhism is retreading itself.
Huh. It's a bunch of tires.
Hard to see.
Last week, the National Director of National Intelligence nationally released 143 reports gathered since 2004 on unexplained aerial phenomena. Side note, did we stop calling them UFOs for some reason? All right. Of those reports, 18 demonstrated technological capabilities way beyond those of the United States, Russia, China, and other terrestrial nations. So, unless Canada is funneling all of their ill-gotten maple syrup money into super secret spacecraft, or Israel has been saving all of its bar mitzvah money, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's probably aliens.
Oreo Company wants to offer their cookies to aliens in a new unexplained aerial phenomenon.
Thank you.
Themed promotional packaging of the famous chocolate sandwich cookie. They are branding the cookies as offerings to potential extraterrestrial beings, going as far as to create an actual Oreo-themed crop circle. Huh? Yeah, looks nice.
Yeah.
Nabisco is hoping the aliens will only want to suck out the creamy filling from their cookies instead of from humans.
Yep.
Not all brands, however, are as still telling the aliens to Lego my ego.
Yeah. The Trix rabbit is livid that there's now an entire other species that has been given preference for Trix. And Moon Pie is kicking themselves for not thinking about this promotional trend earlier.
Finally, the Keebler elves looked shiftily and laughed nervously. Ha, yes, because the aliens aren't already here.
The New York Times undercover investigation into the presence of tuna in Subway's tuna sandwiches had surprising results. A lab found no evidence of any of the 5 known species of tuna DNA in any of their samples. Now, this result could be for several reasons. One, the tuna is so heavily processed that the DNA is denatured and therefore unidentifiable. Or 2, Subway is harvesting and using previously unknown species of tuna with their super secret oceanic fleet stationed near Point Nemo. Or number 3, I'm not saying it's people, but it's probably people. Or aliens, who knows?
Last Friday, scientists announced that a massive fossilized skull of a new species of ancient humans was discovered. Researchers have named the new species Homo longi and gave it the nickname Dragon Man, possibly due to the elongated skull and pronounced brow ridge. This new species could potentially change prevailing views of how and even where Homo sapiens evolved from. Dragon Man is only the latest in a long line of humans that can trace their origins to the animal kingdom. There's also Beast Man, hairy caterpillar that really creeps me out, man. If I conquer the world, will you take me seriously, man? If I'm rich enough not to need a haircut, man.
Yep.
Diabetes, man. Drugs are bad, okay, man. And finally, I'm not that impressed with this news piece woman.
Yeah. Dang! Grand Rapids, you're welcome. NewsFlash!